going for it from the jump, as we are going to have 6 bands slotted in here. No, nothing too surprising. LeBlanc, Ari, Karma, Tristana, Jinx, interestingly, and Gallia, all the bands for Dead FM, as Twisted Fate locked in very swiftly here for Yaharong.
Yeah, I think early on in the tournament, you'll just see people try and take out things they've seen before. It's one of those funny times, too, where we're talking about early in the tournament, you haven't seen people play yet, but they also played as far different in the group as you could. Saigon had to go up against T1, DFM had to go up against A's, and so you're trying to pull out what you thought was problematic. I can see why DFM saw that Tristana, that early level 1 all-in against T1 that kind of gave Saigon the angle, so they're like, all right, DFM is going to take that one away.
Yep, no more of that. As Sylas going to get picked up here. Lucian also taken away. Obviously, Yutapon had a great Lucian game in the one we've seen so far in MSI. And Lucian in general feels like a champion that just very good at this current stage of League of Legends.
Yeah, technically it can be flexed around a lot. I don't think we have seen solo lane Lucian yet, but you know it's always a possibility.
It's coming.
Yeah, at some point someone's going to bust that out into the top lane, so we'll have to see. And if they lock in this Samira, we're going to get a pretty aggro bot lane, it feels like.
Kind of a flex in some ways too, because Yutapon played the opposite side of this matchup in their win yesterday, obviously against a different team, against A's, but obviously feeling confident in the potential 2v2 that's going to be lined up there, presumably against Shogun's Lucian.
Yeah, we'll have to see. There was counterpicked yesterday by A's, and so even though they didn't get the
we're doing
advantage in the matchup, all right, you knew at some point. You knew at some point you were going to get the Evi Urgot, and he's busting it out early on into the tournament. This is why when you were talking about on the Rift as well, he's such a treat to watch. He just has signature picks and is a legit threat in games. We've seen them for DFM, tournament after tournament, just slowly climb the rungs, it felt like, to the point where last year they were almost beating Damwon in games, like at inhibitors, one team fight away from winning those games, and it feels like eventually they're going to make the main stage one of these tournaments. Eventually they're going to start making some noise. And I think a lot of people are expecting with this Group A, this battle for second, this is one of their best opportunities.
Yeah, I mean, they feel almost like a favorite, honestly, to be second at this point. Obviously still plenty of tournaments to go, but definitely in with a very good shot. I think, to me, that's the impressive thing. It's not just that they always show up, it's that they've improved every time they've shown up.
I swear to God, this is not trying to be flamey, but like it was a meme for a little bit where like the emerging regions, it's like, oh, they're going to take this experience back to their region and level up, you know, and like then you would never see that team again. And like it was almost like comical how often that narrative was repeated, but this is one of the teams that actually did that. DFM has actually gotten better tournament after tournament. There are some changes that we talked about already with Yaharong coming in as well as Harp, but we'll have to see if they can hit some of those levels that they were hitting last with Arya.
Yeah, Harp looked good in the opening game at least, but going to be a tough 2v2. Lucian Nami locked in there.
Yeah, I skipped over the Nami pick. Everyone knows Lucian Nami's probably going to pair together. Thing. Yep, so no surprise to see the support pinch coming in for Saigon, getting rid of some of those engage options that, you know, if you're going to lose the lane, it's usually going to be from all ins, and so you want to get rid of some engage threats. Leona is kind of what they're leaving up as a potential, so we'll have to see. But you can always dash away as Lucian. You have a little bit of that mobility, which Leona can kind of get abused by. And Lee Sin banned as well. BeanJ looking real good in that.
Yeah, definitely want to take that one off the board, so they will respect it. Aatrox also locked in, presumably for Hasmed in the top lane, with Sylas going mid, but there is some potential flexibility there for the solo lanes if they want to swap things around, but they already know at least what the top lane matchup is going to be, because Urgot's definitely not going anywhere else.
What year is it? Aatrox Urgot. I remember we got this a lot, and I think it was 2018 when both of them were played all the time. We're getting it again. Viego as well. Interesting to see no Wukong this game. Technically, I guess jungle is still up, so maybe Saigon will end up taking that one away. But after the high priority in it yesterday, not seeing it so much.
Yeah, Viego going to be locked in here. It looks like jungle counterpick, actually, for Saigon Buffalo. So are going to save things for us. I guess it could be Sylas, as Renata's going to get picked again for Harp. I was hoping we'd see this again. Obviously, a different lane matchup with Samira this time instead of the Lucian. But Harp's Renata looked incredible in that first game.
Yeah, it was part of that highlight package you saw from the analyst desk for a reason. It looked very good on it. And Renata's one of these champions where sometimes it can be hard, I feel like, to see the standout unless it's like an insane berserk or an insane hook.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what Harp was doing.
Yeah.
he stood out very clearly on the Renata champion. And the Volibear, one of the third most played for BeanJ, played it 3 times. domestically, or 6 times, excuse me, domestically, 3rd most played. There we go. And not the carry threat I was hoping to see. He sometimes busts out a lot of carries, can be someone that they invest more resources into, but given the current scrappiness that all 3 of their lanes have right now, you kind of want some stability from the jungle, and this is a great champion to kind of show up in lanes and set up kills.
Yep, definitely good at assisting with ganks, can set things up. Nice and good in the early game. Does drop off a little bit, but typically when you're picking something like Volibear and you want to get scrappy, you don't concern yourself too much with things like late game. You just get your gold lead and soar to the moon.
Yep, and Yaharong on the Twist Fate, one of his signature picks. He played 5 times. Those were his most played. Rise, TF, and Ahri. He is more of an enabler in a lot of ways, it feels like, with the Rise and TF, trying to get up to Evi's lane, snowball that, get down to Yutapon, and they have good lanes to make that happen, both Samira and Urgot's not a traditional carry that you're going to like spoon feed, but he does do well with a couple of resources to then kind of be sent off onto an island after you raise him.
Yep, can definitely make some big old plays, both in teamfights and 1v1. It is obviously going to be eyes on Yutapon again, though. In fact, this bottom lane should be very exciting from the tape we've already seen from these 2 teams.
Yeah, Shogun and Taki, I think, going to want to bounce back, have a strong showing. They looked good. Yesterday was probably one of the power points on the map, you could say, for them. That all-in from the Alistar Tristana that gave him a leg up. I think he ended up with 3 kills relatively early total, but then the game plan just kind of fell apart and T1 came alive. But it was a scrappy game. They were finding kills the whole time. For me, it's going to be a lot on Froggy to see what he can do. I feel like the Sylas TF matchup, which was what he played yesterday as well, into Faker, did not go super well. It's a matchup where while you're technically a counter pick, you don't necessarily stomp it. You just kind of get through lane freely, and then you're playing Sylas, who's kind of strong. And you also get to match the TF ult global pressure with your own by stealing his away. But he didn't manage to do anything in that game, it felt like. Partially because, hey, you're playing against Faker, so maybe it'll be a little bit better of a matchup this time around.
Yeah, we'll see. Obviously, Froggy, lots of agency on a champion like Sylas, who's always been pretty good in the TF. Even got buffed recently. Unfortunately, we didn't go all the way back to 15-second ulti. But it is 30 seconds.
Did you say fortunately or unfortunately?
I really enjoyed that because I'm a degenerate. So probably unfortunate for me, great for literally everyone else.
The entire player base, other than you.
All right, well, teams are just fanning out here. Looks like nothing too spicy in the early stages of the game. Harp's going to go ahead, check that brush, make sure no one is coming on in, and junglers are going to set things up on the same side of the rift. It looks like Steel on his blue, BeanJ over on the red. No assistance required.
Yep, early sweeper there by Taki. Gets a little bit of a chunk as they almost face check that, but did not actually end up getting rooted by Harp there. And a cheeky little ward by Froggy snuck in on the red buff, so they're going to know this is a top 2 bot clear for the Viego. Steel not technically warded out, but they're well aware of his, at least, direction of his clear.
See Evi trying to get cheeky there, catching Hasmed going up to lane, but Hasmed just dodges it. Doesn't want to face check an Urgot at level 1, which makes sense. Urgot's very spooky.
And it has been a while since we've seen this matchup. For a period of time, it was somewhat skill dependent. You know, like if the Aatrox hits his tippers, you can really mess up the Urgot. If you miss all that and get buckshotted with your knees 10 times in a row, that goes bad for the Aatrox. I assume it's relatively the same since that kind of meta of dominance that they were both in.
Early level 2. Electrocute procced. It's just so powerful that the Lucian Nami, as you said. We've definitely seen it before. We know what's up. Is Evi gonna get some damage down? Whoop. Hasmed actually definitely eating the wrong end of that trade. Only level 1 as well. So Evi with the early bullying there in the 1v1.
Yeah, hits level 2 power spike, zones Hasmed off the wave a little bit, chunks him out. Almost got him pretty low, but luckily there's going to be no jungle pressure on that side, which Hasmed knows doesn't need to worry about getting dove underneath the turret currently. He will be a-okay, and there you go. They ping out the Viego as Steel shows on his red buff, but it's still scary to get harassed underneath this turret. You see Hasmed trying to at least trade back onto Evi, who's positioned very aggressively.
I think, I guess, conversely, for the junglers at least makes sense that they are going to be moving down towards on bottom side. Should be a big focus of this game for both teams. We've seen what Yutapon can do when he gets gold and gets it rolling, and Shogun and Taki made a go of it against T1, trying to snowball from the advantages they got for themselves here with similarly aggressive picks, although not quite this exact duo.
Yeah, and this is a lane for Saigon side that you actually kind of want. It's kind of similar to Jace, where you want to be left alone so you can just bully the hell out of the other matchup. Because realistically, you're going to win most of these matchups if you play correctly. And so BeanJ there, you saw drop down a ward, went down there, grabbed the Scuttle Crab, early on, make sure that there's no way for them to get ganked so they can keep pushing up over and over again. For DFM's bot lane, you're looking for the right moment to strike, either a misstep by Saigon or a time that Steel can find his way down there with the TF.
A little bit of scuffling potentially as Froggy does spot Steel. BeanJ not going to get access to this crab. But Steel going to go ahead and take that one away, but he already got the bottom one. So they're going to split the difference on the precious Scuttle Crab. Early on here, as Steel's looking for a wraparound, but he's going to get spotted by a ward. Hasmed knows. Might have to flash here. Stun charging up. Hasmed going to wait. Actually still going to get stunned and flipped around. It's too late. Flashes and still gets first blooded.
Oh, very greedy by Hasmed there, trying to outplay the situation. Doesn't want to flash immediately, gets stunned up, killed, then flashes after all the damage has already come through. That is the ego flash. And that is not what you want to see. Evi making his mark on the game already. You know he's such a beast in these games. As soon as he starts rolling, things are going to be very dangerous.
Yeah, already rolling in this lane at least. 10 CS ahead. Hasmed did pop the TP back to lane. BeanJ is here in case of a potential revisit. Maybe thinks he can get something happening on the Evi, but he buffers out of the chain. Hops away and out of mana, probably going to take his TP now and spend a bit of the extra gold he just collected.
Yeah, we'll have to see what he comes back with. It's one of these matchups too, depending on how you want to go. So people go like that early TM out, you start getting the W procs when you turn your auto shoot on. Be very annoying, gives you a lot of control of the lane.
See what happens. Looks like bot lane's reset as well. TP in from Evi. Executioner's Calling is the first port of call.
Makes sense against the Aatrox. Don't want him healing up over the lane phase.
Hasmed's trying to get this lane pushed in. Evi going to dodge out of another chain here and keep the wave. Almost. Ooh, he dodges barely keep the wave away from the tower. And Hasmed's like, dang. I really wanted to push that in.
Yeah, this is going to be rough now if he keeps this freeze the entire time. I mean, there is decent vision control for Saigon for him to get up there and clear. But they also have good wards down here, so they know Steel is there. Hopefully Hasmed can stabilize that lane from here because Steel is under attack.
BeanJ going in. Oh, goodness. Viego just barely out of range, I think. BeanJ not able to get a stun, so no follow-up there, even though Taki was beside him.
Unfortunate use of his flash there. Steel just walked away from it. It was a cute idea, but was going to be a hard kill anyways. I mean, they did have the Nami in support, but ends up using the Volibear flash there, which is relatively important. Like we said, with all these scrappy lanes, being able to come flying into a lane with a flash stun is huge. Losing it there is unfortunate. We're getting close to that 6. Yaharong has already hit his. Steel is close, and that's when we talk about these ports coming in potentially to the bot and top side and blowing this game open. This is when their comp begins to shine.
Steel going back. Oh, actually gets 6 off the ward there. A little bit of extra XP. Gonna go ahead and see what's happening here in mid. Froggy already pre-stole Yaharong's Twisted Fate ulti.
Maybe a little early. We'll see if he gets that one before it times out. Maybe he wants to make the proactive play as well. They're going to the bot lane.
Yeah, here we go. Harp potentially in trouble. Does get a very nice handshake. Pushes Shogun away. And then flashes to safety. Very crisp out of Harp.
Yeah, nicely done by Harp. Still loses his flash. So a net positive for Saigon, as well as the fact that Bean not having his makes it a little bit more difficult to have followed up on that play. But a small advantage in their favor right now. They're kind of continuing that pressure. He's hovering around there. He's not 6, can't turn off the turret. And instead, DFM going up to the weak side of the map.
Well, they see it again and just more harass here. As Yutapon's going to have to back away, but here comes topside. No ulti needed, already just popping the gold card there. And here comes Sylas, and it's too late. Froggy now in the wrong way as there's Evi with the flip. And Viego's going to find that double kill.
Oh boy, DFM crushing early on. This is why a lot of people, despite them being a pool 4 seed, expected them to get second in the group. Their top side of the map is just so strong. Evi, Steel, and Yaharong comboing together to get those 2 kills. Super clean execution. Saigon doing what they can in response, grabbing a ton of turret plates in the bot lane and the dragon as well, making it so it's not a total disaster, but it is making it very difficult now for side lanes to play against Evi.
Yeah, I mean, obviously not the start they wanted here for Yutapon and Harp, but you do expect to take the L in the Lucian Nami matchup most of the time.
You hold that L gracefully.
Exactly. You know, you lost a couple plates, you're down 20 CS, don't worry about it. Samira's going to be fine in team fights. Your
team has done nothing to support you. No one's judging that CS deficit. At least I'm certainly not, and I would encourage others not to as well. Steel's gone top twice. Yaharong's gone top. You have been attacked by the enemy jungler. you know, like this is a totally acceptable level. And I think learning to play or lose gracefully, as they say, is a skill in and of itself. Here's this replay. I just love the aggressiveness. Screw waiting for the wave. Screw waiting for the optimal time. Just go now. I think Evi whiffed that. Funnily enough, I was like, where's the pullback for the fear for when Froggy TP's in? Didn't end up having it, but it was actually Steel playing super clean on the Aatrox Stolen Soul, landing the chains, showing expertise on all the champions there.
Looking good there. Also, I was slightly confused because I saw a Twisted Fate ulti, but I knew Yaharong hadn't used
it's one of those games for you, dude. You're screwed. Play-by-plays when you got
Sylas and Viego. Woo!
Yeah. Sylas takes the Twisted Fate teleport into the Viego Aatrox match, and you're like, wait, what am I saying?
Wait, Froggy has Viego ulti. I don't think you get access to possession.
No, that's your
Viego,
passive,
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, okay. Anyway, it's fine. So, Sylas is weird. Like, the way every ulti is coded is basically, the rules are different for all of them because the idea is for the ulti to function as close as possible to the champion you're stealing.
Yeah, so you'll get an AP ratioed Viego ultimate, but you won't get resets because you can't take possessions.
And there's the real Yaharong Twisted Fate ulti. Very nice Q. Get the double marker, but Evi this time's gonna have him in the blender as he gets yet another kill in top lane.
Nice turret trading there. Yaharong as the TF, more of the support. He grabs the turret aggro first, locks him up for Evi to do the damage, gets that meat grinder going for the third time.
Oh, watchless dive as well there as well for Yaharong, so very well done. No stasis necessary for that little play as Steel also got the Rift Herald kind of at the end of all of that happened. Yes, Saigon Buffalo did get the first dragon, which you expect, but DFM, with all this control of the top side, were basically able to walk up and take the Herald whenever they pleased. So Froggy's up here catching this wave. We might even see a little swap here because Husband's having a terrible time. Does not want to 1v1 this Urgot anymore.
No. I mean, this is one of those games where you got to start moving things around. Luckily, the bot lane turret was broken open, so it's not an awkward rotation out from getting people into other lanes. But, I mean, this is what sets DFM apart from a lot of the minor regions to me when you watch their gameplay is a very strong understanding of macro and team compositions. A lot of teams are really good at, a lot of players are really good at champions, and they, from the minor regions, can go toe-to-toe in lane phases, and it's these kinds of situations that get outplayed.
Oh, that's a bubble and a half out of Taki, but the counterplay is there. The wave comes through, but Yaharong just goes ahead and grabs BeanJ as the dive was a bit too aggressive.
No, it was a good idea, just didn't get over the wall there for BeanJ. The initial quick kill, then he's gonna hop the wall and skedaddle out of there, but ends up not getting over, a little chunkier of a wall than he was expecting, and gives one right back. But I like Saigon looking for their opportunities, not going quietly into the night in this game.
Yutapon here in mid, gonna go ahead and receive the wave. But again, Shogun and Taki very powerful on the Saigon Buffalo side. Gold lead only 1,000 between the two teams, despite how many kills DFM's top side has gotten, as we'll watch this one again.
Yep, so just a nice timing window here while the side of DFM is split up, both people in their side lanes. And would have been a really good play. You just get to ult right out of there and escape, but just wall too fat, too thick, can't get over it.
Feels bad, man.
Feels bad. But I will say, to the point about the gold lead, one reason it's significant is not just the kills, but also you're playing against the TF, who generates gold. So for that reason, it is good that Saigon Buffalo is only 1,000 gold down. Their bot lane has been exceptional, as well as grabbing a lot of turret plates and all that. But that is some standing gold that is just waiting for DFM to take. They will start grabbing turrets in a minute here, I'm sure, with how well they're playing around the TF. And the 5v5, hold on.
Heaven Frost popped after the dash on in, gets the chain. Exhaust burnt there by Yaharong. Does have that swapped over with the Spellbook. Steals here as well, but Saigon Buffalo collapsing. Good flash there from the Twisted Fate, but he's out of there, and he does get out safely. Nicely done there.
Yaharong, nice bait out there, flashing away. Then the other guy tries to ult follow. That gives him a window to ult out himself. The problem was he baited Steel that whole time because Steel thought that he was going to need to help Yaharong get out of there, but was not the case. And with this, you know, Saigon Buffalo, maybe I was getting a little ahead of myself. They're clawing back into the game. They're 5v5, arguably better, I would say. Both teams have a lot of outplay potential, though.
Yep, and Harp sick of that. Pops the calling out of the way with the handshake, but Shogun 2-0. Picked up a bit of extra gold as well, I believe, off the back of Steel. And BeanJ is going to go ahead, give Saigon Buffalo Dragon number 2. Things looking up
Yeah, looking really good. Second Dragon. There is the Rift Herald that finally got used mid lane. That was one of the problems with Yaharong getting picked off in the top lane there. Is it kind of destroyed DFM's tempo, and they are definitely, with that top side of the map, wanting to play a bit of a fast-paced game. And they will get this charge off, but not going to be able to drop the mid lane turret quite yet.
Yeah, collect some plate gold. Just had 20 seconds left to go ahead and collect it. DFM will now maneuver up towards the top half. Yaharong, I think, will be able to do enough damage to the tower to finish it off because Evi already had it going, and indeed they will. So that standing gold you mentioned is going to give DFM kind of the lead that they lost after that little bit of counterplay. But it's not a big lead, right? This game is still very close.
No, not a huge lead, but it is one of those games where the gold has been funneled very hard to certain people.
Yep.
DFM's top side of the map was all north of 5,000 gold, where Hasmed, when I saw the observer showing, he was at 3,800. Well, on the flip side, Shogun was at 6,300. So your Aatrox is functionally useless, most likely, other than kind of being a front line for your Lucian. And so there's a lot of pressure now on Shogun this game to actually team fight very effectively, which is hard in the low range into things like TF, who has a guaranteed stun on top of you. The Urgot's very annoying, and so this is a very high-pressure game for Shogun, and a very important game, as we're talking about, these two being kind of in contention, most likely to be getting out of this group.
Yeah, and for Evi, obviously he's got all the gold right now for DFM, although Yaharong with his assists and the tier passive is doing a nice job keeping up as well. Looks like RFC second is going to be the choice for Twisted Fate, so continuing the standard choice, but to be the enabler for the team, as you mentioned. And Yutapon, he'll chill. Not quite there at item number 1, but the hope is that Evi will bridge him to the point where Samira can explode in skirmishes and fights.
This is actually, like, as Samira, obviously, you want to be giga-fed to start.
Yeah.
But if you're not, at least there are other members of your team who can get people low, and then you're more cleanup duty than you are straight 1v9 duty.
Yeah.
It's much harder to be the 1v9er than it is like, my Urgot and my Viego get everyone low, and then I go scooting in there for my crazy Devil May Cry play. She's literally inspired.
I mean, yeah, you're not wrong. As Saigon Buffalo are going to go ahead, take down the tower in top side, keep the gold a little bit closer. DFM still working the midsection of the map, but good defense here from the Buffalo as Evi has found an area he can go ahead and unleash upon. And Hasmed could be in a spot of bother here, still wrapping around for a potential play, but he's entering the enemy jungle instead.
Yeah, so far, nice trade outs by Saigon, now breaking both side lane turrets. Getting that gold a little closer again. And they're going to have 2 minutes to go back to that dragon. I think that's where we'll see how DFM's going to contest this. They can technically give up one more relatively safely, but they're already pinging down the mid lane turret. I think there's going to be this big Rift Herald fight because DFM want to use that to break the mid lane turret to open up the map even more for the TF to get unlocked. And Saigon are already kind of reading that out, getting grouped up. They have really nice pink wards already in that situation. And looks like DFM doesn't actually want to even contest that and just leave Evi to keep split pushing.
All right, so Saigon Buffalo are going to go ahead, grab that second Herald. Nice move there, just making sure they take over that area and deny that potential play. Saigon Buffalo also happy to crack open mid-rat. There's been a lot of play to kind of chunk down the tower there in that section of the map. So Evi is going to go ahead and get the objective he was after. But it does cost DFM at least his Herald and maybe their mid-outer as well.
Yeah, we've been talking a lot about what are important objectives for you. And I would argue that that was actually a relatively important one for DFM. One, to finish off the mid lane turret for themselves, but also to deny, because it's a zero-sum game, Saigon Buffalo the same opportunity. Because now Saigon can use that to break the last outer turret of DFM, which makes controlling the dragons even easier. If you can get that push a little further, and we've seen Shogun have the push this entire game. If Shogun's mid, he's getting the push, and then that means it's harder for DFM to approach the dragons, which they will need to do soon because Saigon's already stacked up 2 of them.
Yeah, you can see that gold difference reflected between the 2 ADs. Shogun, with 2 items already done, has collective finish. Shield Orb is done for Yutapon, right? That's a very important part for Samira here. It's going to make her playable in the potential upcoming team fight for this dragon. But Saigon Buffalo should be able to make some room here. BeanJ currently in base, but he does have the Herald ready to go. And as we see the tower health on your screen, one charge looks like it's going to be enough to take it out, if not get very close.
I mean, this is an easy play for Saigon a little bit. You charge down mid lane, you drop the Rift Herald, move into River, and then either the turret's gone, or the turret's basically guaranteed gone, and you have to stop the Rift Herald charge. And during that time, Saigon will also have mid priority to try and grab the dragon themselves. DFM know this. They've grouped up a little bit earlier on, moved into this river already, and are trying to make a play.
Yep, it is bottom side, but they are going to duel the Twisted Fate ultis, and the gold card comes at the perfect time. The stasis is going to buy some precious seconds, but it's not going to be enough for Froggy. gets put into the Vitamix by Evi, and that will be a kill for DFM.
Big mistake there. Saigon still make that play in the mid lane, dropping the Rift Trail and grab that turret, trying to grab their second one. Might be able to get it with a little bit of tanking, though. It's a little sketchy.
Looking good there.
Should get 2 turrets for that play, but during this time, DFM are going to be on the Dragon. That's why they have the time to actually hang around here and get this, but it does mess up the Dragon stacking. So big mistake by Froggy there, getting caught out by the global map mobility of DFM. Not the end of the world. Still able to trade a lot of gold back onto Shogun yet again. But I think the bigger objective there was probably continuing that Dragon stacking for Saigon. So game has kind of stalled out in terms of their win cons. The gold lead was getting funneled to Saigon, who really wanted the Dragon. DFM wanted the gold lead. They got the Dragon. Now both teams are going to have to play it out from here.
No smite for Steel means he does lose the blue buff to Hasmed, but a small loss for Steel, who was just trying to take a little bit more out of the enemy jungle. Definitely a game that, again, despite the lead from DFM, now they've broken up the Dragons, so it does feel like we're just approaching an even game, right? I think the gold lead at this point, especially if you take into account Twisted Fate's passive, just feels like it's basically even between the two teams, even if the scoreboard isn't necessarily reflective of that. As you mentioned a number of times, it is more about where that gold has gone.
And Hasmed, for what it's worth, had all 3 of those deaths, I think, pre-10 minutes, and has stabilized that since then, for the most part, down to, now coming up on 20 minutes. Hasn't really lost anymore. Yes, he's down 40 CS, but that's been the case for quite a while as well. And so, while the Aatrox will never be a threat in and of himself, again, his job is to be annoying, be in the front line, try and stop them from being able to kill Shogun or get them low so Shogun can start cleaning up kills. The thing that I like that DFM's doing is prioritizing some healing reduction, given that you're up against Nami, she heals a lot. You're up against the Sylas, he heals a lot. Aatrox healing. So this is some smart itemization so far by both the Urgot and Steel. Able to be, as the rich people, pick those up early and let Yutapon focus on continuing to just build damage.
Is that team by time? Froggy actually stealing Renata ulti. There we go, he's gonna let it rip. Yutapon just blocks it, says, nah, I'm good with that.
It looked like, oh, hold on.
Oh, that's a big culling though. Yutapon now, no W left. It might have been a bait. It looks like genius as Shogun just takes out Yutapon.
100-0 as soon as the wall was down. Yutapon knows there's no way to stop that culling, just follows up on him and obliterates him. And with Yutapon down, Saigon are looking for the Baron.
I gotta say that was intentional. Very nicely done for Saigon Buffalo. Using their little windows there to punish and give themselves a 5v4 for this Baron. And they are steamrolling the health of this objective, but DFM are going in. They need to make something happen. They dodge the tidal wave. The Baron taking a little less damage now. And Evi's a big threat, but Froggy steals another ulti. Now he's got Urgot ulti at the ready. BeanJ's gonna go in there. They're gonna try and get him, and they do take down the Urgot, but Evi lives with the Renata W. Still dies on the other end of it, and now they're back to Baron.
Back to Baron at 4,000, has not healed up. They're gonna be able to grab this one. Steel's trying to get in.
He's got it. He's got the smite ready. He can go for it. It's just going to be a flip. Seal's going to go. He can't get it. Shogun shuts it down. Yaharong is trying to make it happen, but the Baron gets taken by the Buffalo. Froggy sets it up for the next kill, and Shogun is going off in these team fights.
Saigon Buffalo, perfect Baron control, stop damaging it exactly as Steel goes into the pit, keeps it at 1600, out of smite range. They finish him off, and then right when he responds, Yutapon wants to go in, hasn't built up any of the stacks yet, can't actually ultimate, just gets absolutely popped yet again. And now Saigon are looking super clean, 2,000 gold, Baron buff power play.
A beautiful sequence as we watch it again here for Saigon Buffalo.
So this was pretty crazy to watch. The ult steal from Froggy, while he's getting stunned up, here comes the Renata ultimate to make everyone look like they're going to be hitting each other. He's going to get rezzed, but before he can get the ult off, I think he burned down, and he couldn't actually eat Froggy there, so he didn't get the reset to come back up alive, and then that's when we get to see this Baron control with the make sure they finish off Steel, stop the Baron damage. Here, they're trying to save something. Yutapon's just trying to make a play because it looks pretty doomed. Just can't build up his ult quick enough because you have to get to S rank before you can pop that one.
Yep.
Does not get there. Blown up, and a really impressive game from Saigon Buffalo when things were going so bad in the top side. Shogun, slowly over time accruing that gold lead, ends up making the play, killing Yutapon that started all that.
And look, the difference over time, it's a couple hundred gold, but the highest lead DFM has had in this game now belongs to Saigon Buffalo, and with a couple $100 over the top as well.
And I gotta say, as much as I was hyping DFM up for the early game, maybe jump the gun a little bit, but for Saigon Buffalo in the VCS region, this is huge. I cannot overstate how important this is, as hold on, might be a play on the weak side.
Here we go, steal up on the top side, Froggy the target, Viego ulti stolen, pretty good escape tool. Gonna use it to get out of there.
I like the attempt by DFM trying to cut off this play while kind of abandoning this bot lane turret. Doesn't work, but where I was going with that was Saigon has been away from international play for so long, 2 years basically without VCS in a region, or an international tournament. The region as a whole was one of the up-and-comers in this team, was starting to make a lot of noise. People were excited, and it felt like they kind of got screwed over a little bit just with COVID and, you know, obliterating everything. So now it's really cool to see them kind of pick back up where they left off as a region. Even this is their second team, you know, Gigabyte Marine's not even here. This is the second seed for them, and already just showing like, hey, you cannot sleep on us. Everyone was saying DFM, pool 4 seed, they're going to be the ones to actually get out of this group, and maybe throwing a wrench in that narrative.
Yeah, so far so good for Saigon Buffalo. After that Baron at least, the Red Bull Baron power play up to almost 3,000, but the Baron buff's going to wear off. And Saigon Buffalo will sit on their gold lead of about 3K off the back of that. But they've flipped this game back to a lead, back to a decent lead, in fact, here. And they've also still got the Dragon stacking up. They can work on the potential Cloud Soul in 4 minutes 25 when it's back around. But obviously, Shogun, like we said, you have to carry this game. You got all the gold. You picked this Lucian. You must perform. He is overperforming in a lot of these fights.
Yeah, I mean, just solo killing Yutapon basically did have some Nami buffs on him, but that is what broke this game open. And I don't think Saigon came into this game wanting to go, you know, full on all chips in the Shogun bet, but it has worked out.
Again, another stolen Renata ulti just to kind of zone them away. Froggy being very persistent again, showing off that Sylas cooldown buff to the ulti, able to steal quite a bit more frequently. And DFM just have to defend. There's no additional siege pressure. It's much harder for this team without the Baron, that's for sure. But Saigon Buffalo just need to contain DFM for as long as they can. Yaharong actually eaten by a chain. Shogun dominating is going to get another as Evi's forced to flip out of there.
Yaharong seems like he lost track of where Saigon was, maybe thinking more people had recalled or that they were further into the river, but they got the clean turn.
Ooh, stun. Volibear ulting away. Very nice from BeanJ, trying to bait them in. Evi looking to make the big play. He's going to put him in there as Yutapon. He's going absolutely ballistic on the Samira. Hasmed gets one at the end of it all. But DFM find a trade.
2 for 2 overall, but that was, of course, with Yaharong dropping a little bit earlier. Still have to be scared. Shogun is alive. He's very, very terrifying. But a nice play by Evi there to stop this pressure in the top side, it seems like.
Yeah, DFM needed to do something. They needed to kick them away, get some gold back for themselves, and they have at least bought a little bit of time. Maybe more than that. TF ulti. TP up top as well. Yaharong here. Going for it there, finds the gold card. Froggy tries to buffer in, gets ever frosted. Yutapon going back through. Harp here as well, trying to lock them up. Shogun so threatening. Yutapon, I think we'll be able to get one, but Froggy's pretty swift. Dashes out of the way, flashes out to safety. Bubble's going to protect him. Yaharong can't find the follow-up. And Saigon Buffalo has scored Froggy out of there.
Uh-oh, another TP coming in. Pastry, we're not slowing down.
Counter TF ulti Froggy. Here we go, wrap around flank. Harp flashing in, looks for the handshake. Froggy dashed out of there. Shogun gonna go godlike there, grabbing one. Looks for the second. Tidal wave to disrupt, but Evi, he's found the critical kill. Shutting down the Lucian as Hasmed wraps around as well, but DFM, they've already got a second. Yutapon starting to come alive alongside the Renata, but Froggy back up again. Here's BeanJ, another kill needed. There's Yutapon with a double, going in, Inferno Trigger popped, gets another, but BeanJ still alive. A triple kill for the now dead Yutapon as DFM will not stop fighting.
Are they gonna stop fighting now? Looks like it. Hopefully give you a chance to recover.
Woo!
Good thing they put this game as our third cast of the day, Pastry, so you can blow your voice out and recover afterwards, because my God, that fight lasted forever. Both teams not wanting to cede an inch. No objectives up in the top side. Nothing particularly fought over other than pride and the gold in your pockets. But overall, that didn't influence the game state a ton. The gold lead is still mostly in Saigon Buffalo's favor, 2,000 gold, as we have this insane chase down sequence using all their teleports. This is the most important thing. I think a lot of the teleports are down. But you can see Yutapon getting stronger, getting a little scarier. This was nice zoning by Shogun, making sure that they didn't have enough damage close enough to finish off Froggy. Some fancy feet to get out of there. And that's when the teleports start coming back in on the other side. The Aatrox comes back up. They think now they're over aggressive, and Shogun, as the primary carry, gets a little bit too aggressive here. Yaharong's stopwatch there allows Evi to get in range, and then with that ultimate, it's so frustrating. This is the problem with Lucian, is that there's just so many tools. for DFM to stop him if there's not a great wall in front of him.
Yep. Yutapon did pop the W. Blocks the incoming Lucian ulti. Shogun didn't get that much damage done. Mostly Evi hit, but now the tidal wave in. They've stolen the ulti again! There's Froggy with the kill! Evi gonna live for a little while longer, but it's not gonna matter. Renata Glasc W can't keep him alive, and Saigon Buffalo found a 5v4 with the Baron up.
Yeah, this is not the tanky Urgot of old. You can actually hop on top of him, finish him off. There's no stone plate or anything, I don't think so. Very easy for them to find that kill when he's caught out of position, and the meat grinder that this Sylas is taking away is just adding this extra layer of lethality to make sure they can actually finish him off.
And Detonation Focus may have decided, perhaps rightfully so, that there's nothing they can do about that Baron, so they're going to leave it alone. Yaharong ulted to the bottom lane to try and take down a tower. It is worth a little bit of extra money thanks to the objective bounty. But the Cloud Soul is now up and available, and Saigon Buffalo are going to run straight to the objective.
Yeah, DFM are going to have to seed this one. I don't think it's worth Steel trying to ult over into the pit and get it. So from here, Saigon will be able to set up. They want to start taking inhibitors, ideally. Have the map start working for you. Don't work for the map.
Map's always trying to keep you down.
There's a capitalist metaphor in there somewhere I'm too dumb to figure out. But here, off the reset, very strong. Still most eyes on Shogun, but quietly, Hasmed has gotten closer to even in the game. 2.5 items, almost 3 done to the 3.5 of Evi. Froggy has quietly been quite good as well.
Yes.
I feel like Shogun has done the most damage, gotten the most kills clearly, but Froggy has helped out find some of them with the ability to suppress Evi. Even if you don't get the kill right away, while you're chaining and pulling them in, they can't go anywhere or do anything else. And that works very well against tanks. It's one of the things that made Urgot so strong, and funnily enough, being used against him here.
Yep, Sylas definitely using the full kit available in a lot of cases here. Seen a bunch of different ult steals there out of Froggy. Saigon Buffalo wearing purple once again. They're going to have to try and do a little bit more damage to these turrets. BeanJ leading the charge, just won't be stopped. Finally, hand shook in place by Harp as DFM know what's coming. Need to protect their inhibitor towers if they can, but it's a very tall ask with 1:30 left on this Baron.
Yeah, interesting to see them prioritize the top inner rather than trying to work on the inhibitor turrets. They will be able to grab this one in a second.
DFM have also shown they maybe want to fight as well, but Harp is base tanking that calling. The tidal wave comes in. Harp's going for it. Harp's going to live. We're going to have to go back to base, and the Renata Glasc ulti is going to zone them away.
Yeah, Froggy not managing to make that one work for him quite as well as the Urgot one thus far. One, Samira, when she swats that down, it actually destroys it, it looks like. You know, the way that you normally do with particles or projectiles.
Yep.
Apparently works with giant clouds of mist as well.
Froggy in trouble, but does still live his ulti before he gets out. BeanJ taking damage, but not enough to pick him off. The Yaharong being very annoying on this Twisted Fate. And again, Evi's ulti, if they find the right target, they can kill just about anyone with a little bit of time, but Saigon Buffalo back away completely. The Siege not getting what they wanted, but they did at least get a bit more gold.
Yeah, 30 seconds means there's not enough time to reset and go back to these. So I would say for DFM, mission accomplished. That's as good as you could hope for realistically, is making sure that you don't lose the base. It's going to make Saigon Buffalo have to do a couple more rounds now with the Soul in their back pocket. Next thing up will actually be the Elder buff. That one will be 3.5 away. And where teams will probably focus, but knowing these two teams will not go slow until then. We've talked before about like, oh, it's 2 minutes until this. We'll get the waves in their favor, get some wards out. I expect Saigon Buffalo to start a fight.
Yep. Hey, look, if you fight for the objective, if you fight early, you get practice before the objective fight. It's all about reps.
I will say there are times where it is important to fight before the fight because there's critical summoner spells that you want down. Like, you want a flash off. If you can go flash for flash between like your engager and their critical carry, that's a great time to try and do that. I think sometimes teams get trapped in loops of, oh, their flash is up, so I can't malfight ult. But then if I never malfight ult, they never flash, so I can never engage. It's like, well, eventually you do need to go. And I think that's one thing that I can see Saigon Buffalo wanting to fight for, but they also might just get collapsed on.
Long con on this play. Froggy's decided to take Twisted Fate ult for himself, and he's out of there. Gives him a little heart on the way out. And Saigon Buffalo back down towards this mid-section of the map. Elder Dragon up in 2:30, but the game might end earlier if the teams want to scrap right now. Froggy, I think, just running interference.
Yeah, trying to distract them from the mid lane push that's going down, try and grab this turret. Not able to get it quite yet.
Do keep it alive, and now Evi on the front line. Shogun looking vulnerable, but he's very tricky to pin down. Steel tries to find the play, but he doesn't get it. And Shogun lets it rip, takes down Steel, and now BeanJ in there just stunning up on Evi, who's going to have to flip out to safety.
Sick flash by Taki there to get away from Steel. Steel wanted to predictive flash it, and Taki was already like, nope, I am making sure this is not hitting me. That allows the turn to come through very cleanly, finish off Steel. And with Viego dead, it feels like Saigon Buffalo are finally going to be able to run over the base. Will they pull back? Most likely not. Try and end here.
Waves in the right places here, thanks to all the pressure that Saigon Buffalo had on the map. So 2 inhibs down, they're not done. The bubble connects. Froggy with the Everfrost. Great bit of status there. BeanJ going on in. Gets berserked. They want an ulti. Harp ripping through the team with Renata Glasc hostile takeover. But I don't know if it's enough. They have killed Shogun. Hasmed's gonna die. And DFM will defend.
Saigon Buffalo overstepped their BeanJ when he ulted in, did not actually turn the turret off, I'm pretty sure, as well as allowing Yutapon to stack up his Devil Trigger. So when that Renata Glasc ult hit, like you said, he went scooting in there, hit a nice ultimate to kill 3 of them. 3 for 1 means that they're going to lose a little bit of pressure. Gold will go back into DFM's favor, but there's not really any objectives up. This is one of the nice things about fighting when objectives are up. If you lose, you're still fine. So there's going to be just some turrets taken for DFM and some setup for these respawning objectives.
34 minutes in, and Saigon Buffalo's mid-outer tower finally falls down.
I told you the Rift Herald was important, Pastry.
Yeah, you weren't wrong. Finally, the map is a little bit more open. Unfortunately, we only have one thing to fight for, but we'll watch this again before we get there.
Yeah, so I can respect this trying to end the game where you have the 4v5. They're trying to play it slow. Evi is kind of far forward. Froggy has the seal on it, but the stopwatch was huge there. Does get the top turret off, but is actually still in range of the bot turret, so ends up taking a little bit of damage there. You see the power of the Samira when she gets to actually stack up and end up in the middle of the team. Even though she got popped quickly as well, like she just puts that damage out so fast. You see DFM's coaching staff looking a little terrified there, watching the screen very closely.
Ooh, this is a very nice quick Baron here with Saigon Buffalo. Elder Dragon's on it for 15 seconds. They're just going to go ahead and take it. Yeah, the TF ulti can see them, but they grab the Baron, and now what do you do?
Yeah, still
your
10
base
seconds.
is so exposed, even with the Elder Dragon going to be up. I mean, DFM will be here first, but like, I don't think you can try and take it. They're going to end the game.
Yeah, they don't need to respect this Elder Dragon.
Look at BeanJ, he's out of there.
It's a 1-dragon Elder Dragon. You can kind of ignore this and then just leave a couple people to interrupt them.
The enemy jungler is going to the enemy base with the Elder Dragon up. He's going to end the game. DFM want the Elder Dragon, I guess. Taki going in, the damage is good. He's taking out turrets. BeanJ's just going for it. I don't think DFM can do anything. They might get the Elder, but he's just going for it. Now Yutapon back, but he can't fight this out. He's going to die. The next is open. The Elder Dragon goes down. Sure, Steel got it, but Saigon Buffalo, that's it. They end the game.
Saigon Buffalo do not care about the Elder Dragon. They give that one away to DFM and just go to the base to end it. BeanJ, the first one it felt like to recognize that play. He started hoofing it right to the Nexus, and there you go. Saigon Buffalo climbed to 1-1 in the group, cementing themselves as the current favorite to get out second.
And I said at the top of the game, it felt like my pick would have been DFM, and all of a sudden, things look very different. Saigon Buffalo with a pretty convincing game. A close one for a lot of it, but Shogun took the lead he had, and the rest of the team opened up alongside him.
Showcasing a lot of playmaking I think we were expecting, but also showcasing some good understanding of macro. I mean, I was hyping up DFM's macro right before that, and then sure enough, it's Saigon Buffalo who get the backdoor base race because they were more on top of getting to the objectives early. They frequently made the better decision around the objectives, which allowed them to claw back in that game. Yeah, Shogun popping off was a big part of it as well, but I think them knowing how to deal with the fact their Aatrox fell behind early was a big part of it, and should not just be overlooked to like, oh my god, Lucian ran over the game. But I think they actually played pretty intelligently as well, despite some of the crazy team fights that can convince you it was just a clown fiesta.
Yeah.
There was some fiesta, but there was some macro there as well.
Absolutely. I mean, nothing more telling than the Elder Dragon being up and the jungler just going in the opposite direction.
Yeah, maybe you could argue lane, like assignment-wise, you could have kept the jungler there and sent someone else to do the backdoor, but I think, you know, at that point, you're just trying to win the game, and that was the right call.
Certainly was. Detonation focused me. Their first loss of the tournament so far. 1-1. We'll join the Buffalo there as far as scoreline go, and that battle is going to be hot. I mean, these teams will play again, right? It's potentially likely that that is going to be the decider, as Saigon Buffalo gets the VCS's first win at an international event in over 2 years. Has to feel good. After the break, though,